Hi, this is Maginoni, and welcome to another edition of The Good, the Bad, and the Disappointing. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to give you the good, and I'm going to give you what appears to be my most utter disappointment of the year. So let's start off with the good, and that is Injustice, Gods Among Us, Year 3, Number 9. This, by far, is not the best book that was out on the shelf, but I will say this is the book that I really had the most fun reading. Basically, what we have here is Superman facing off with Batman, and the only way to really go toe to toe with them is if the Batman and his group takes these pills that give them strength, and they're fighting in this magic realm, which they were hoping was going to keep them safe from prying guys. Well, they thought wrong. Well, battle starts. Sinestro kills somebody. Then their trump card is played, and they summon Trigon. And he's like all pissed off. He's like at Superman. He's like, "Where I'm gonna get you for what you've done." And basically, Constantine worked his magic and spread some rumors about Superman and Raven. So he's naturally pissed. Now, I think for me at least, this book is just so entertaining because things change all the time. You can never expect anything, and that's what makes this book truly special. And the ending is basically exactly what I was hoping for. I I think I can spoil this because it's not like all of you guys are reading this, and you guys will understand what I'm talking about. But basically, what happens is, Trigon is about to beat everybody, and a flash of energy comes out of nowhere, and apparently, Superman has somebody protecting him, and that someone is Mxyzptlk. Now, that's huge because it comes into question: is Superman responsible for everything that's happened? And it's this kind of surprise that just makes me, like I said, really enjoy reading this book because you just don't know what to expect. And if you have not picked up the trades yet, I would really, really highly recommend you do so because it's just so much fun to read. Okay, that is my good. Let's go on to my utter disappointment, which is DC making major changes to their comic book line in June. I was holding my tongue back because I really wanted to give this some thought, and I was hoping maybe DC would release some further information, so I just didn't fly off half-cocked. Basically, for those of you who don't know, what's going on is this. DC's making a major change to their line. Now, part of this makes sense in that they're dropping the new 52 logo branding, which is fair because they're 3 years in. You can't just keep calling this new 52. It'd be like, 10 years later, still new 52? It's a joke now. So that part's fine. I accept that. But this is the key thing that I'm concerned about is they're de-emphasizing continuity and scrapping. I'm sorry, they're de-emphasizing continuity, and they're going to empower their creators to launch bold new stories, stories that aren't hindered by what's been done in the past. Now, Dan Didio is basically also saying that they want these stories to be inclusive, contemporary, accessible, modern. He's just throwing key words, catchphrases, like it's basically he's throwing candy to babies. And this is my problem. Granted, you don't necessarily need to have a true sense of continuity, to have a successful comic book line. But if people honestly, the thing is, I don't think a lot of you realize DC ran into continuity problems in the past. Things were amok, and they had to do major events to rein everything in, so this way they can follow a path. This way people don't go, wait a second, these stories don't make any sense because how can this be? And this is what I feel is going to happen again. The effects, for an example, with Batman is it's evident that nobody in the Batman editorial team knows what's going on, and they're just writing stories without a care to the world. In some cases, I think it really works. Other cases, I think it's really weak, and the rest are kind of like in the middle. Now, the other thing they're doing is they're canceling a ton of titles. They're bringing in 24 new number ones, and so basically they're going to have only 49 titles now. What does that have to say about your product line? That out of 52 books, you're canceling more than half. That means your product line sucks. It just utterly sucks. If you remember back when DC was doing their New 52, they used the same types of catchphrases. Well, we want to be accessible to a new reader. We want to keep things fresh, exciting. We want to keep things diverse. We're trying to attract new readers. And that's what they did. They had the edge, they had dark, they had the more superhero-y that the Bat universes. They had one of the best female superhero, two of the best DC superhero, I wouldn't even say DC, best two superhero women comics. They had Batwoman and they had Birds of Prey. Now, Birds of Prey, they bastardized in the New 52. And then in Batwoman, they basically screwed that up so badly, the creators left. Now, whether or not you argue should the couple have gotten married or not, it's the way DC handled the whole situation that allowed them to lose such talent. And then the book, of course, is now going to be canceled. You had Supergirl, who it just has its periods of good and bad. Mostly, it's who really cares. You have one of the most powerful women in comics, Wonder Woman, and you can't even bring her into the top 10. You can't even bring her into the top 20. Rocket Raccoon almost outsells Wonder Woman. So if you really want to make things, I don't think DC knows how to do this. They're throwing tons of catchphrases, and they really don't. I don't think they understand the concept. To me, what it looks like they're doing is they're just tossing a bunch of titles out there, and let's see what works. Like one title, for an example, I agree with is Midnighter. That is a good title. Long deserved title. You can argue Martian Manhunter. That could be decent. He's had his series before, but there's times where, it always gets canceled. Black Canary in front of a rock band, I don't know what's going on with that, but, Cyborg, who wants to read a comic book of a guy who's stuck in monitor duty all day long? You have Starfire being pulled out of Red Hood and Arsenal, which was probably a very good move to begin with, but the art that they've shown, it's horrible. It's not that I want a sexy Starfire, it's just that doesn't look good anymore. It's like, who's your reader now? It's like they basically took the character from a male audience to a young female audience. So how is that going to work when you have a warrior princess who's now having to deal with maybe, where am I going to get money to buy jeans or something? We Are Robin looks. I don't even want to go in that direction. Justice League of America, written and drawn by Brian Hitch. Why? You're going to get only 2 books a year if you're lucky. Or let me rephrase that. You're going to get all the books that he's able to write and draw up till the number 1 issue. And then maybe you're going to get 1 issue a year if you're lucky. Why would you do something like that? That's so stupid. That's just, hey, let's just throw this out there, we'll get excitement. But that's like saying, I don't really think that this is going to even be released in the long run, because he has a history of not working fast enough to do a monthly series. He is always consistently late. Prez, that's so old. Why would you think that it's going to work now? You have a couple other titles which could potentially be good for kids, maybe. Batmite and Bizarro. But, there's no information on it other than, written and illustrated by. Of course, we got to have yet another Green Lantern book, The Lost Army. I don't know why they're even calling Constantine new when it's Constantine the Hellblazer. It's a fucking Constantine. That's not new. How about it? Just makes me just want to bang my head sometimes with what DC is doing. To use catchphrase like we're trying to be more diverse. Well, you were more diverse. You failed at it because you didn't know what your target audience is. Dan Dito's like, whoa, there's more women reading comic books today in case you didn't know that. What, you couldn't figure it out until you saw Ms. Marvel becoming the standout hit? So you change Batgirl? Really? I mean, how out of touch are you? Women and girls, females, children have all been getting into comics for years, and their numbers in both categories have been growing. It's it's you, DC, who's just missed the boat, and you don't know how to cater to write to these crowds. It's like I'm at a total loss. And then this is what we call classic money grab. Because what's going to happen is they're going to release all these new titles. Some of these titles are going to sell really well. Most of them aren't. Hopefully most of us are going to be going, why should we buy these books? Because a lot of this stuff looks pretty crappy. And what are they going to do next? Are they going to do another relaunch? If this fails, to next year, I don't get it. It's like an act of desperation, and I don't understand. It's like, DC has some of the most iconic characters ever, and they write subpar stories as a whole. There's some quality out there, but if you look at consistency across the board, it's just not there. They have no faith in their secondary characters, no faith in their third tier characters. Just think, if DC and Marvel acted the way DC's acting right now, Teen Titans and the X-Men would never have been as popular as they were. Never. Because both of those books went through hard times. The Avengers have gone through hard times. Justice League went through severe hard times. And it's just because, the companies believed in these books that they kept putting them out, that it's popular today. Well, Teen Titans maybe not anymore because they've taken that book and made it like crap now. And I just don't get it. It's just this whole thing. It's like, I don't see how you can be proud of canceling a bunch of books, getting a whole bunch of new titles. Most of these they're not even exciting names. It's like they're this, oh wow, it's the same people that we've seen all the time. Oh, there's Amanda Conner again. Jeff Johns is on one book now. My favorite writer is TBD. I'm surprised he's doing writing now because TBD normally does the artwork. And it's just like, DC should stop with the gimmicks. Stop with the Villains Month where you have, 52 holographic covers. Stop with all this nonsense. Slowly over time, you got your Batman down pat. You got your Justice League down pat. You've screwed up your Superman. So maybe you should work on Flash. Then you can go to maybe Teen Titans and so on, and slowly put newer, fresher, more, well-known creators, writers. Marvel keeps going to the writers well, and they're pulling out extremely good talent. And it's like, that's why Marvel's doing better in terms of their storytelling. I just don't. It's like I really do want to like DC a lot. I really do. But every month you can put a Marvel book and a DC book standing right next to each other. And other than one exception, I will never say, I really am looking forward to reading this DC book first. Never. Except for that Batman. Because Batman's right now has been pretty good. But other than that, nothing. DC is always second consideration or third consideration. Because the stories just aren't strong. They're half-assed, and canceling 20 some books is proof that their line sucks. And I guarantee you, if DC and Dan Dito think that adding in 24 new number ones is going to make this sudden difference where people are suddenly going to go, oh, wow, I never realized that Justice Earth 2 Society was a fantastic book. No. You've turned so many people off by some of these titles, they're never going back. I just don't get it. Batman Beyond was a book people were begging for. And, we finally get that back. And it's just, like I said, I just don't understand, why we have to do another relaunch. This is a major relaunch. It's not a reboot because they're still keeping core titles the same, the ones that were selling well the same, but you're basically relaunching, rebranding your line because for 3 years you couldn't keep the momentum you had when you rebooted your line. And Marvel quickly took over and smacked your ass down. I guarantee you, as much as I'm going to have some words about Marvel's move once more information comes out for that, they're going to still destroy your ass because you can't keep mistreating your characters. Throwing out new number ones every 5 months is not going to be a path to success. It's not a path to respect your characters. It's not a path to let these characters grow and develop. And I don't get that. I don't know why they have such an utter disrespect, they're basically throwaways. Oh, Bob, this doesn't work today, so let's grab the next thing. What's the next thing on our list? And I guarantee you there's probably a list with the next wave that's waiting to go out. And it's just, if I was a true DC fan, I would be truly insulted that they think so little of their books that this is how they treat them. Cancel all the time. Anyways, that's my rant. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Like, share. Let me know what you guys think of the new DC relaunch. Let me know what you thought was the good book of the week, the bad, whatever. Don't forget I do the comic podcast with Comics Freaks and Geeks down below. And I'll have more stuff later. So until next time.